Hello?
Hello, this is Karen with Top
Yeah, I know.
Solar
Why would I
calling from
answer a call
Omaha,
that I didn't recognize?
Nebraska. How are
You
you
see, I
today?
was an
Good.
entrepreneur and I started a company in my
Good. I would
backyard
like
and
to
grew it
discuss this
nationwide.
nice
And just
business
recently decided
opportunity I
to
have
sell it. It's
with
going to take a little time off for myself and go fishing. But I learned when they say for all your fishing needs, that's misleading. So I decided to go out, buy some equipment, and become an amateur filmmaker. But, I kind of needed a subject. And guess what? Karen just gave me one. Now, I'm not a solar salesman. I don't represent any company. I'm just a guy with a lot of time on his hands and, been hearing a lot about solar and wanted to see, what this whole thing was about. So if you got time, let's look at this together. Now, first of all, I'm not against green energy. If someone made a truck that would, supply my needs, if I could plug it in and do everything I needed to do in a normal day, I'd probably buy one. But they don't make such a thing. I will recognize, though, that the technology has come a long way in recent years. There's only four entities that ever put people in space. That's China, the U.S., Russia, and Elon Musk. So now that he's had his hand in it, it's probably worth looking at. So let's start this off with things that we absolutely know. Energy prices are rising, and according to experts, they're just going to get higher. What if you could go back 2 years and lock in the gas prices, from a couple of years ago? Well, if we're going to go back in time, I got a list from the 20s I'd like to talk about. Well, I can't do that, but I can make some decisions now, I think, that would help with my energy costs going forward. Maybe we could just start turning some of this stuff off if we're not using it. Well, conservation is important for sure, and we could save some money that way, but it's just going to get offset by the... Well, I'm just saying, wouldn't hurt to turn some of this stuff off. Yeah, that's a good idea. Why people don't talk to you? Plenty of people talk to me. To prove my point, I wanted to go out and talk to a realtor. I wanted to find out if I went solar, how would it affect the value of my home? Listen to what Amanda has.
So, Tim, the truth is it affects your home in a few different ways. One, it helps you to go green and own your own energy. We all know that piece. That's probably why you're entertaining it, right? But the biggest piece is it affects the value of your home in an increase. Now, everybody's home is different. So one person that puts in a pool in Dallas, Texas isn't going to have the same value added as a person who puts in a pool in Fort Worth, Texas. Does that make sense? It does. So exact same policy is held with the solar panels. It all depends on your location, how many panels you put on, what does your offset look like. So the increase is there, the amount depends.
Okay. Except the pool costs me money, and this really makes me money.
Yeah, well, this does cost you money. You're going to make that payment every month, but the cool thing is you're going to get to remove, hopefully, all of or the majority of your utility bill and replace it with something that now you own. The pool, you're paying the same payment, and you're never really replacing it with anything. You're just stacking another bill on.
And I gotta clean the damn thing.
Boom.
Yeah, I hate that pool. But what I really wanted to know from Amanda is how does it affect the resale value of my house should I decide to sell?
The resale of your home, that's a great question because it does affect the resale of your home. The biggest piece is your buyer that's stepping in to purchase your home. Our goal is to add enough equity to your home with the solar panels that when you go to sell the home, we can pay the panels off in full and you get to increase the value of your home when you sell it to the buyer because they're getting free utilities as long as they're going to use roughly the same usage as you for the rest of the life of the home, right? Mm-hmm. Or the life of the panels. So that's the fun piece for buyers that they're really being attracted to right now.
People tend to adapt to things. So people who were closed to solar 10 years ago and wouldn't buy a house that way, in the market, do you see people being more receptive to that? And will they be more receptive in 2, 5, 10 years?
Absolutely. We are predicting 12 million homeowners to go solar over the next 10 years. That's huge in Texas, primarily in Texas right now. California's already gone that way. Texas is kind of following California's lead. The biggest thing from my understanding is with ERCOT not being able to, the grid with ERCOT not being able to supply Texas in a whole. And we all kind of experienced that in Snowmageddon, Now with the increase in our utility rates year after year, that's where you see the homeowners start to kind of shift their perception on solar. Where can they go to reduce that fee? And the biggest increase or value for a homeowner right now is going to be inside of solar. That's going to be their easy exit.
Okay. I mean, it does make sense. It really does.
It truly does. Now, we didn't enjoy it before because the rate of our utilities 5-10 years ago was little to nothing.
Yeah.
8 cents a kilowatt. Today, you're more than double that and almost triple that, right? And so you just don't, if you're in a really bad situation, so you just don't have a whole lot more to argue with.
Oh, well, Amanda, you don't know old guys. We don't really need a reason to argue or even a valid point. We'll do it. And that whole comment about Texas following California, pretty sure God's mad about that. But she did have some really good things to say. And remember, Amanda is a realtor. I didn't walk into a solar place. I walked into a real estate office and asked if she'd talk to me on camera. Then she said that there's a place 2 doors down that they do solar. It's a roofing and solar company. And she would go down there and see somebody down there would appear. I mean, you have to be awful confident in your product to sit down and appear with me on film. But down came Corey. So a storm comes up or some guy hits a pole or something like that, and now the power grid is down. My house is still going to run because I have solar, right? But is it going to be bleeding back into my neighbor's house? Because the guy ain't even returned my weed eater. I don't want him to have my electricity too. Okay? I mean, so what's going to happen there? And now am I supplying his TV with my TV? Or what happened? Now, how does that get? Do I flip something? What?
Well, I guess the answer to that would be no, you won't be pushing power back to the grid if something happened to like a transformer blowing or someone hitting a light pole. There's a safety mechanism that stops the electricity from flowing back into the grid just in case a power line is down or someone is working on it. But if you do have a battery, what happens then is it bypasses the grid and goes back into your battery and allows the battery to charge and power your house.
Okay. Oh, Corey was such a good sport. He answered all the questions that I asked him, plus a lot of the shenanigans as well. Like, if I put these Chinese solar panels on my roof, will the Russians be able to listen to my conversations? Like there's anything I say that they want to hear. Or if I put these up here, will my neighbors think I'm a hippie? I'm a Republican, for God's sake. And he just politely dismissed it and managed to slip in some really good pertinent information. With that, he explained to me that all solar panels are not the same. There are good ones. Some of them are made in China. We don't want those. The good ones are made right here in the United States. He explained the need to have a solar company that has their own installers as opposed to having these wandering installers do it. And the people could do damage to your house, which is also a benefit to having a company that does both roofing and solar, because they, understand how a roof works and that you could do damage to it. And I don't want anybody damaging my roof. He tried to explain to my simple mind the way that the tax advantages work, because you see all of these people saying, oh, free solar, no cost solar. And he explained to me why they say that. And in a way that made me think, I have got to get these tax advantages. Now, I didn't show all of Corey's interview, and the reason that I didn't is because of this advice that he gave me at the end that you should follow.
Okay, Tim, the best advice that I can give is to find a solar specialist that is knowledgeable and trained, and it's going to be someone that you trust, that you can invite out to your home, because every home has a different usage, different process. Also, every home has different perks for the homeowners.
The only thing I didn't like about Corey is that he took my film of why the California left-wing liberals are destroying the fossil fuel energy with a scam called solar. Hey, it's kind of a working title. And moved it to why I installed solar on my house. But I didn't run a successful business by being an easy sell. You see, I needed to go to the consumer. I happen to know one of the employees that we have who lives right down the street from us has solar on his house. So I called him up and invited him to meet me for a beer after work. I wanted to, hear what he had to say about it. But after 4 hours of sitting there with him, I realized he didn't know anything about his personal finances. I needed to go talk to his wife. So that's what I did. Well, this conversation for some reason didn't go all that well, but I knew in order to complete my journey, I was going to have to talk to people who actually had and were using solar. So, put out a message on the community pages, and some people invited me over. And by and large, most people loved the solar, and it was making a tremendous difference in their lives. But there are the people out there who chose the wrong company. They got the wrong equipment, and it's not working well for them. You have to be careful about who you invite to your home and who you lock in your long-term commitment with. Back when I was running my business, if somebody walked into my office and said, "We can take your operating expenses and divert it into investment capital," I wouldn't have believed them. But here we are. That's exactly what solar does. And plus, I get a 30% tax credit. Now, if I'm an hourly employee, back when I had a job, I could have went into HR and asked them to take less money out, and that would have put money in my pocket every week. Because I need my money right now. Christmas is coming. I mean, that's just a deal that I just couldn't pass up. But it's not a business decision, it's a personal one. So it's something I needed to do. Hey, Tammy, I want to talk to you about this. We got to make a decision on this solar thing.
Okay, but why are you filming?
Because when she says no and we start getting these outrageous electric bills, I can show her I was right. No worries.
Okay. So how much does solar cost for our house, do you think?
Well, that's my wife, cut right down to the bottom line. This is the real evaluation of what it costs to put solar on our house, which is 1/4 of what it took to buy this car.
Well, I really didn't want to take on any more debt right now.
Well, it's not really debt. You remember in the movie The Blind Side when she said the first check that every housewife writes is for the mortgage and the second one's for the insurance?
Yeah.
Well, you can't insure a house without power, so actually the second check has to be to the power. Right. So it's not a debt we're taking on, it's one we already have. Except we're just using the money in a smarter way.
So you completely pay off your electric bill with the solar.
You can do that, or you can do like 70-80%. It's really, that's why you really have to have a rep to come out, because like you and I travel, and there are months that we're just gone. Okay, so we wouldn't want to cover 100% ours, but that's just what you deal with, the reps and stuff like that. But I mean, you look at the laws of supply and demand. Okay, so we're going through this. Last year we were running cows in this pasture. Now look at it. Okay, so if they couldn't supply us during Snowmogeddon, then they can't supply us with all of these new houses. So supply and demand. The demand's going to go higher, the supply is going to go lower, so what's going to happen to the cost?
And the electric bills are going to go sky high.
I know, so why wouldn't we lock ours in right now using the same money that we have? Probably even a little less, but the same money, so it's not taken out of our household budget. And unlike this car, it's actually saving us money, So I don't know why every house out here doesn't have it on it, and they're gonna wish they did. And speaking of that too, is the realtor told me, and I actually backed it up, and she kind of gave me a low number. She said 12 million houses in Texas are going to go solar in the next 10 years. I actually think it's got to be higher than that. And I looked, and there's references that show, I've seen up to 18 million. What do you think, Tam?
I think it'd be dumb not to do it.
Yeah, I agree. So now I'm going to take you through the whole step. I'm going to record that, and we're going to have some fun with this. I'm excited. Well, this is kind of embarrassing. I mean, I set this up, and you and I were going to do this thing together, and then it turns out we're not. Kind of like an episode of Oak Island. I had the people come out today, to do the assessment and all that, and I didn't videotape it because, hey, come to my house so I can videotape. That even sounds creepy to me. And the result of that is that my house isn't a good fit for solar. You see, my house is in an older neighborhood, so we have a lot of trees and shade around, and plus we don't have a lot of use. It's just Tammy and I that live here. And I got to be honest, I'm very disappointed because I'd already, spent that tax credit I was going to get. I was going to buy a pontoon boat, and you guys know I need one. It's a safety thing, really. That's what I told Tammy. But I should look on the bright side, and it's a good thing that I did call a reputable company, somebody who came out and was honest with me about it. From the research I've done, that could have gone a whole different way. I mean, there are people who come out with these contracts that actually put liens on your homes, and they put inferior stuff on the top. And the biggest problem that I found is the warranties. Some of these people, you get the one person like, Karen, our girl Karen, she calls and she gets a lead, then she passes it off to somebody else. Then they pass it. It could go through 7 people before anybody ever shows up to put panels on your home. So my question is who has the warranty? The answer to that is we don't know. They could have sold the warranty anywhere on down the line and nobody's responsible for it. So what happens if the installer decides that, hey, I'm going to do something else, and now I have no warranty on these expensive panels I just bought? And make no mistake about it, they are expensive. Now, in full disclosure, this comes from a guy who is still mad I got to pay $12 for a hamburger. Yeah, I have water with that, no lemon, thank you. But through doing research for my project here, I've come to see the value in solar. I mean, first of all, the independence of it is appealing to a guy like me because, I didn't want to tell you all about this because I didn't want to upset you, but let me tell you the way this works. The power plants, which runs off of natural gas or not coal or whatever, it produces electricity. Then it goes to a substation, and then it goes to the power lines we see, and then it comes to our house. And then right there's a provider that comes in and charges me a delivery fee. It's already there. Why am I paying a delivery fee? But solar would have gave me independence from all of that nonsense by locking in that rate. I referenced it earlier. What if you could lock in the gas prices? 1990, we could have locked them in, and that's the price we'd be paying today. Would you have taken that deal? Well, that's kind of the deal solar's offering us. And there's more. I get to protect my family against power outages. They've already been telling us since what Miss Amanda called Snowmogeddon, that our power grid just wasn't sufficient to maintain us. Is this grid going to be able to hold up? Are we going to have reliable electricity, or are we truly going to follow California's lead and see 3 blackouts a week? Well, I guess I am, because I can't get solar here. And also, let's remember what Amanda said. 10 years.
Absolutely. We are predicting, 12 million homeowners to go solar over the next 10 years. That's huge.
To me, that not only means that my house is going to be worth more, but it's going to be more desirable. People are going to be attracted to my house because it has solar. Well, not my house, damn it. If any of you would like to have access to the information that I've collected, I'm not using it, you're welcome to it. Just come on by the house, but bring a candle and a sweater because I don't have solar. We'll sit around, drink coffee, and eat pie and talk about, we're going to need pie. Or you can just hit the email and I'd be happy to send it to you. Thank you.
Grandpa, you gotta tell them to like, comment, and share.